Humans have left Earth to establish Avalon, a paradise in space, as their new home, and have formed the Galactic Alliance of Humankind to continue their journey through it. Hideauze, mollusk-like life forms, appeared as a threat to the Galactic Alliance, and a war has broken out between them. Ensign Ledo and his machine-caliber chamber K6E21 join the latest attack on the Hideauze. The attack eventually ends in failure, and a retreat order is issued by Ledo's superior, Cugil. However, Ledo is unable to return, and he is cast out into space. 6 months later, the crew members of the salvage ship Gargantia retrieve chamber from the bottom of the ocean, but are unable to take it apart. After everyone leaves, Ledo decides to explore and examine his current location, only to be noticed by Pinion, head of the repairmen. Ledo kidnaps a courier named Amy, as he is chased to the outside and cornered on a pylon by the entire crew. He finds out that he is on a habitable planet, which shocks him enough to release Amy. Then he summons Chamber, who confirms that this is the planet of humanity's origin. Ledo stays pinned on the pylon and attempts to open a friendly dialogue with Ridget, the fleet commander's aide, while Chamber translates for Ledo and surprises the crew members by being an unmanned machine. After Ridget discusses with the other crew members what to do with Ledo, Amy visits her bedridden younger brother Babel to give him a small ship's wheel to complete his model ship. Amy later approaches Ledo with fish to eat as a friendship ritual. She explains that this planet called Earth was once frozen over, and some humans chose to stay. The ice eventually melted and became a vast ocean, in which many people form fleets to salvage old technology from below. Looking for other items of advanced technology, Ridget sends Bellows, leader of the excavation team, to the point where Chamber and Ledo were found, but Bellows' ship is attacked by pirates. Amy asks Ledo to help them, and he agrees with the intention of earning their trust. Ledo boards Chamber and efficiently kills the pirates with no harm to Bellows' ship and crew, as Amy and the others watch in shock at Chamber's destructive power. Amy disapproves of Ledo's actions, and the leaders of the Gargantia discuss the eventual retaliation they may suffer. Bellows brings Amy to talk with Ledo, and they explain to him that weapons must be used only as a last resort, as people must rely on each other to survive in their world. After Amy reconciles with Ledo, a large pirate fleet led by the pirate Empress Luckage launches an attack and slowly approaches the Gargantia. Ledo discusses the situation with Ridget and agrees to help them once more, in exchange for being accepted aboard the fleet. Instructed to defeat the enemies with no casualties, Ledo disables the pirate ships in the front lines and returns to the Gargantia to deal with a sneak attack led by Luckage herself, piloting her custom humanoid-shaped mecha called the Surfing Lobster Yunbaro. Ledo battles and easily defeats Luckage, forcing the pirates to flee. Upon being saluted by the crew of the Gargantia, Ledo is greeted by Amy and replies by thanking her, the first native expression that he learned. After thwarting Luckage's sneak attack, Ledo receives an invoice to pay for his collateral damage, although Ridget says that he shall be relieved from the living expenses and the fee of having Chamber aboard. While Chamber helps the other workers, Ledo is seen sculpting the Hideauze claw that he always carries with him. He gives it to Amy, who plans to pass it to Babel later during the day. Amy takes Ledo to see resident Dr. Oldham, who explains to him that most of humankind's old technology is lost, thus it is impossible for the Gargantia to help him return to space. Amy takes Ledo to meet Babel, who asks Ledo about his life in space. It soon starts to rain a little, and Ledo helps collect rainwater to replenish the fleet's freshwater supply. Babel realizes that Ledo was actually carving a flute. As Babel plays it, Ledo recalls a long-forgotten memory that makes him cry. After asking Babel to return the flute to him, Ledo later wonders if he should learn more about their surroundings, while Chamber mentions that he must eventually leave it all behind when returning to his unit. Ledo decides to look for a job, but he fails to find a vacant post up to his skills or willingness. Soon after, the Gargantia stops moving for maintenance, taking advantage of the calm day when the winds and waves are absent, with all workers having some free time except repairmen. Despite being a repairman himself, Pinion invites Ledo and Amy, along with her fellow couriers Saya and Melty, to the beach. Due to an energy shortage, Pinion is unable to cook meat, sending Ledo on an errand while using Chamber as a grill. Amy, Saya, and Melty are tasked by Ridget to turn on the sprinkler on the top of a crane tower, and the three take the opportunity to make it a race on surf kites. During the race, Amy saves Ledo from being pursued by three male transvestites eager to hire him. The girls return to the party after finishing their job, with Ledo arriving soon after bringing a bottle of sauce, the item that Pinion asked him to fetch from a hag. Before the calm day ends, Amy informs Ledo that Pinion arranged the party to cheer him up since he could not find a job. Ledo takes up work as a fisherman, but he finds himself unable to pilot a diver Yumburo and sends Chamber to assist the other fishermen instead. Pinion then invites Ledo for lunch and offers him a position on his repairman crew, but Bellows appears and also offers him a job on her excavation team. As Amy, Saya, and Melty dance for the crowd at the festival, Ledo points his gun at a cooked octopus, mistaking it for a Hideauze. However, Pinion and Bellows assure him that it is good food, not an enemy. Since Chamber is rather messy with his capture of fish, Ledo boards Chamber to help the other fishermen properly obtain a nice catch using large nets. Later that night, Amy spends some time alone with Ledo, and the two become closer. A natural ocean lighting puts Ledo in state of alert. He arms himself to defend Amy until she calms him down and dances for him upon his request. On the following day, Ledo does salvage work with Bellows, and things go smoothly until an underwater creature appears. As Chamber identifies it as a Hideauze, Ledo abandons his work to confront it. Despite Bellows' pleas, Ledo kills the creature known as a whale squid, considered a sacred animal on the planet, and news of its death spread rumors of an impending misfortune towards the Gargantia. Pinion plans to draft Ledo into his crew in order to explore the uncharted whale squid territory and salvage its treasures, but Bellows tries to deter him. After Chamber analyzes that whale squid are indeed similar to the Hideauze, Ledo is determined to exterminate them all, despite Amy and Babel attempting to change his mind earlier. When a huge number of whale squid are seen approaching the Gargantia, Fleet Commander Fairlock orders a temporary shutdown on all machinery and lights to prevent any provocation as the whale squid pass under the Gargantia. Ledo ignores Amy when she tries to stop him from fighting the whale squid, but he is forced to stand down when Ridget points a gun at him until all the whale squid pass under without any incidents. Fairlock is informed by Pinion of his plan, and Ship Commander Flange declares his intention to accompany Pinion with his ship. As both express their objective to secede from the Gargantia, Fairlock tries to dissuade them until he suffers from a heart attack. Before his death, Fairlock appoints Ridget as his successor. Meanwhile, Chamber informs Ledo that he finally managed to pinpoint the location of their civilization in space, but it may take thousands of years until someone picks up their distress signal due to their current location on Earth. As Fairlock's funeral is held, several dissident ships agree to follow Pinion's plan and prepare themselves to secede from the Gargantia. With Melty deciding to leave with them, Amy later tells Saya that she cannot abandon Babel, even though Ledo is leaving as well. Bellows reminds Ridget to not burden herself, as she will always have the rest of the fleet to support her. Seeing how much his sister is suffering with Ledo's decision to leave, Babel tries to discourage Ledo from leaving. However, Ledo says that his drive to kill the whale squid also comes from his desire to protect both Amy and Babel from the Hideauze. Ridget then sees Fairlock off as his body is sent into the ocean, and she asks the members of the Gargantia to lend her their support. Soon after, a devastated Amy watches as the dissident ships leave the Gargantia, with Ledo aboard them. Ledo starts his offensive on the whale squid nest, assisted by Pinion's crew and their barrage of depth charges, obliterating the enemies without much effort. Pinion recalls when he witnessed his older brother being killed by whale squid during a failed mission to find treasure. While investigating an ancient facility, Ledo finds some records in a storage box. Upon accessing them, he learns that the Hideauze were once humans who underwent heavy genetic modifications to adapt themselves to space environment, calling themselves evolvers. Viewing their efforts as blasphemy, a faction of humankind declared war on them, leading to their current conflict after both sides abandoned Earth during the Fifth Ice Age, except for the ancestors to the current humans and whale squid living on the planet. Devastated by this revelation, Ledo shouts in despair when Chamber slays a Hideauze child without his permission. Back at the Gargantia, both Babel and Amy show signs of how much they miss Ledo. With all the Hideauze in the area killed, Pinion and his crew manage to salvage rare ancient technology. However, Pinion says that his crew has the right to keep the technology for themselves, sending a radio broadcast to other fleets to warn them to keep out of his crew's territory. As this broadcast reaches the Gargantia, the fleet is already reorganized, and there is concern that other ships may leave to join Pinion's side. Using an ancient cannon, Pinion forces a crew of hostile pirates to surrender and join his fleet. Meanwhile, Ledo hears from Chamber that the light bugs that humankind used as a power source were also created by the Hideauze, which further proves their discovery. Ledo then questions if there is still a need to keep fighting the Hideauze after all they learned. Chamber comes to the conclusion that the Galactic Alliance and the Hideauze simply cannot coexist, seeing as one side evolved and perfected their civilization while the other relinquished civilization altogether, thus their conflict is inevitable. Chamber then informs Ledo about a transmission from a Galactic Alliance vessel. As a huge fleet approaches them, Ledo sees Cugil still alive inside his machine caliber atop the vessel. Cugil contacts Ledo and instructs him to return to active duty. Upon reuniting with Cugil, Ledo learns that Cugil is struck with some disease that does not allow him to leave his cockpit. When Ledo tells Cugil that he learned that the Hideauze are originally humans, Cugil reveals that he always knew about it, just like the High Command of the Galactic Alliance. Despite that, Cugil insists to fight the Hideauze, and all this time he was organizing a powerful fleet with an occult militaristic society in order to rally all the humans on Earth under them. Pinion is summoned to Cugil's fleet, surprised to be taken there by Luckage, who is now working under Cugil. Then, Pinion is approached by Cugil's machine caliber striker X-3D-752, who offers him a post as an engineer to repair and develop weapons for the fleet. The rest of his companions are also forced to join Cugil's fleet in separate departments. Sometime later, Cugil discusses with Ledo the next step of his plan, a large-scale operation which, much to Ledo's shock, somehow involves the Gargantia. Pinion is approached by Luckage, who is planning a rebellion at the fleet. Ledo tries to dissuade Cugil from preparing to attack the Gargantia, but with no success. Confused about what he should do, Ledo witnesses the people of the fleet throwing their sick and weak into the ocean. Realizing that the same will be done to Babel, Ledo decides to confront Cugil by himself. Accepting Ledo's decision, Pinion equips Chamber with some extra weapons, while Luckage and Flange make preparations for the impending uprising. Melty is instructed by Ledo to deliver a message to the Gargantia. However, she almost faints by traveling so far by herself and is rescued by Amy. Informed about Cugil's attack, the crew of the Gargantia considers to abandon the fleet as Ledo recommended. Instead, Amy urges that they should do something to help Ledo as well, and Oldham suggests Ridget to make use of the special key that Fairlock entrusted her. As the rebellion begins, Ledo, assisted by Pinion's crew, fights Cugil, while the pirates, led by Luckage, attack the fleet's soldiers. When Ledo finally manages to pin down Cugil and open Striker's cockpit, it is revealed that Cugil was long dead inside it. Striker reached the conclusion that it was necessary for the humans to view her as their god to ensure stability of the fleet. Both Ledo and Chamber disagree with her philosophy and decide to destroy her. Ledo merges his nervous system with Chamber's interface to increase Chamber's capabilities, but risking Ledo's life. However, Amy appears soon after to tell Ledo that he does not need to fight alone. Meanwhile, at the Gargantia, Ridget uses the special key to activate an ancient mass driver stored inside the main ship, using it to bombard the enemy fleet. Pinion evacuates his crew aboard the salvage vessel and intends to destroy both the recovered relics and Striker's followers, but is saved at the last second by Luckage. Ledo and Chamber pursue Striker when she targets the Gargantia. Despite living a life of sacrifice as a soldier, Ledo truly desires to survive and live with Amy. Chamber then relieves Ledo from duty and ejects him to safety before destroying Striker in a suicide attack. Some time later, Ledo has become an experienced excavator in the whale squid territory and is also in a relationship with Amy. In the ocean, whale squid larvae are attached to Chamber. This is the end of my video, so please watching all of my anime recap series. Thanks for watching.